Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and now that the year is almost over, I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the best first-person shooters for PC that have come out in 2015. I've compiled a list. I'll go over briefly what each one does well or doesn't do well, and at the very end, arbitrarily pick one that I think deserves the title of Best PC First-Person Shooter of 2015. And so to start things off, I have to talk about Black Ops 3. I have been very impressed by what Treyarch has delivered on, and while it doesn't do anything revolutionary, they didn't reinvent the wheel here, it's just been the refinement of the franchise, and what they've created is just an amazing, solid first-person shooter. Just the sheer amount of content to enjoy here is staggering. You have the main campaign, you have the zombies campaign that unlocks after that, there's zombies mode, there's free running, the multiplayer, and all of this is for $60. You compare that to basically every other first-person shooter that has come out in recent memory, and you're going to be hard-pressed to get that amount of content for your dollar. And while sure, you may not care about every part of this game, you may not care about the single player or zombies, all you want is the multiplayer, but in my opinion, every aspect of Black Ops 3 is well polished and a hell of a lot of fun. And so it's for these very reasons why I think that this is a clear contender for being one of the best first-person shooters of 2015. The only thing I think goes against it is the simple fact that it is another Call of Duty game. They don't reinvent the wheel here. They don't do anything revolutionary. If you played the past ones, you're going to feel right at home, but it's the refinement of the formula that I believe that Treyarch has just nailed with this game. Up next, we have Star Wars Battlefront. I feel like the best way of describing this game is that if you ever go to a fancy restaurant, you order one of their most expensive dishes, and it comes out and it looks amazing. It's artsy, it's made of the best ingredients, it tastes fantastic, but it's this super small portion size. And so while it might be delicious, at the end, you're left unsatisfied. You're wanting more. You're wanting more of this product, and that's exactly what Star Wars Battlefront at least is for me. I love this game. When it came out, for the first couple of hours, actually more like the first 20 or 40 hours, I was loving what it was delivering on. Eventually though, to no one's surprise, things eventually started to get very repetitive. They started to get stale because there just isn't enough content to maintain that longevity. My two favorite game modes is Walker Assault and Supremacy. That's the reason why I wanted to play this game, for that all-out epic Star Wars fantasy experience. There was only 4 maps at release, and while Battle of Jakku has been nice, that has been a step in the right direction, still having only 5 large maps to play on eventually is going to get old and stale, and that's exactly what happened. And so while at its core, this is still a very fun first-person shooter. It has allowed me to relive my childhood fantasy because it oozes Star Wars. Whoever worked on the Frostbite engine, I have to give a huge tip of my hat to those guys because they have created a graphical masterpiece. This is one of the best looking games that has ever been created, but it's because of that lack of content why I've been so disappointed with this game. The next one on my list is Battlefield Hardline. Some of you might be thinking, wait a second, this game came out in 2015? That hasn't been on my radar in forever. And while I know that it hasn't been in the news, people haven't really been talking about it, it actually came out in March 17th of 2015. Hardline holds a special place in my heart because while I know the vast majority of people weren't really all that impressed by it, I think it's really mainly just because I enjoy the Battlefield franchise as much as I do. Any excuse to continue to play this on different maps and have more variety was fine for me. I think the main reason why a lot of people wrote this one off was because, first of all, it felt more like a reskin version of Battlefield 4. They literally reused a bunch of assets and just kind of slapped them into certain parts of their map, but also because it didn't do anything exceptional. Yeah, it was a solid shooter, it did things well, but it didn't do anything better than everything else that was out there. The one game mode that I felt like actually had some promise and was unique and interesting was Hotwire. They promptly killed Hotwire with the game design of having RPGs in the back of every single vehicle in the game. You just exploded as soon as you got into one of the objectives. Everyone realized that game mode was gonna suck, they started playing just TDM and Conquest, and when everyone was playing those two game modes, they realized, oh, well, this is just another Battlefield game, I'm gonna go play a Battlefield game that does it better, and so they promptly went back to Battlefield 4. And while personally, I had a lot of fun with it, it's got its flaws, it doesn't do anything exceptional, I thought it was worth mentioning in today's video, but clearly it is not Game of the Year material. The one that I have been spending a stupid amount of time with over this last couple of weeks, though, is Rainbow Six Siege. If you told me a year ago that Ubisoft was going to be creating one of the most compelling, interesting, and unique shooters of 2015, I would have laughed in your face. I'd be like, no way is that possible. But somehow they've done that. At first glance, it doesn't look like it has a lot of content. Only 10 maps, 3 game modes, a couple of operators, and some customization. But then when you actually play it, you realize that there is just an insane amount of variety. I have not had a single round that has played out exactly the same. The destruction, the different spawns of the objectives, having different operators on your team and on the enemy team changes the way that you play it every single time, and it's because of this variety that keeps me coming back for more. I've already put, I think, 70 to 80 hours into Rainbow Six Siege over just 2 weeks. I think that speaks volumes for how much I'm enjoying it. That does not mean that it is a flawless game, though. One of the biggest complaints is the netcode. For this being a tactical, competitive first-person shooter, having moments where you randomly die from someone who shouldn't have been able to kill you because all you could see was like his left nipple, it gets very frustrating. To Ubisoft's credit, they already have had a big patch which has resolved a lot of these problems on the PC side of things. It has made things better, but it is still an ongoing problem. Regardless, though, Ubisoft has created one of the most compelling, unique first-person shooters that I have played in quite some time. I did not realize that I had an itch until I started to play it, and it scratched that itch. The combination of the destruction, the teamwork, and the tactics accumulates into one of the most enjoyable first-person shooters of 2015, and honestly, one of the best shooters that I have played in quite some time. So with all that being said, we're now to the point in the video where we decide on which one deserves the title of being the best. Personally, for me, it is going to be between Black Ops 3 and Rainbow Six Siege. They both do something phenomenal. They both provide probably the best first-person shooter experience, but if I had to choose, if I really had to nail it down, then I would give it to Rainbow Six. As much as I love Black Ops 3 and what Treyarch has done for that franchise, it doesn't do anything really unique or different. It's just another Call of Duty game. It might do what it does exceptionally well, and I love it, but I want to reward the developers, and I want to reward the game that actually does something unique, and that is exactly what Rainbow Six Siege is. For all of its problems, yes, it does have its issues. I cannot stop playing this game. I have put an obscene amount of hours into it. I'm loving every single moment of it, and it's for that very reason why Rainbow Six Siege is my favorite first-person shooter of 2015 for PC. But let me know what your favorite has been this year. I know I didn't talk about any of the console games like Splatoon or Halo 5, and a lot of those deserve the praise that they get, but I wanted to focus on the PC side of things. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Is it still Rainbow Six? Is it Black Ops? Is it something completely different? Let me know down below. But yeah, guys, that's about it for today's video. I thought this would just be fun to talk about now that the year is ending, and I hope you guys enjoyed. But yeah, until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.